So Ernie, I want to ask, how is coronavirus affecting our markets right now?
A great deal, because China controls about 15 to 20% of the world trade. And that being a factor, a lot of manufacturers are shut down in China right now. And since that's a big issue, obviously, because of the trade in itself, giving a great example, Tesla can't get their vehicles there, even though they have a brand new plant there. And that production is not occurring, so it's slowing down the markets. Earnings have come in a little weak. For example, Walmart and Apple have reported in the last week that they're not meeting their earnings for the first quarter. Well, excuse me, for the last quarter. So it's really kind of surprising people. And we haven't felt the full effects of this until really the next quarter when they report the first quarterly earnings. And so it's a question. And in the same sense, are we getting the true numbers from China also?
Right.
That's been a question.
So what can people do right now to protect their portfolio from all of this?
Well, it depends what age you are.
Okay.
If you are younger, and the market's down today over 200 points right now. If you're younger right now, you can take advantage of it because you're buying shares at a cheaper rate. So you don't change anything you're doing. If you're older and you're approaching retirement, you need to be a little cautious. When's the last time you've had that 401k looked at, in the sense of how much risk you had, or that IRA, the retirement account? So you want to look at those accounts and maybe look at your risk tolerance, because we've had 12 years of great run right now, and it might be a good time to look at the risk you had back then might not be the same risk you want to have right now.
Yeah. Now, Ernie.
Welcome to this week's Your Money Matters. I'm Jill Hazu, joined with Ernie Burns of Burns Estate Planning and Wealth Advisors. So good to see you. Now, Ernie, at retirement, many of our viewers have a lot of pension options. What should they be aware of before making a decision?
That's a great question. A lot of our clients have come to us in the past with that exact same question. We've worked with most of the Fortune 500 companies in the area. And the first thing you want to remember is to have all that information and options in front of you. You should have a minimum of 7 options, from anywhere from a single to a joint to a lump sum payout.
Well, Ernie, let's say that they choose a single or a joint lifetime payout option, and a few months later, they change their minds. Can they do anything about that?
Actually, no, they cannot. Once that benefit has been chosen, you cannot stop it.
So what happens when their spouse dies?
Now, that would be a good reason to sit down with a financial advisor that's familiar with the pension plan.
Sounds like it.
Because that decision was actually made when that spouse retired. So that surviving spouse has little to no control after that selection has already been made.
So then what are the next steps, Ernie?
That's a great question, Jill. I guess the next step is to give us a call at 888-985-8551. That's 888-985-8551. Sit down with one of my Retirement Dream Team advisors to look at your situation, your plans, to make sure that you make the right options for yourself and your family. That's 888-985-8551. Or look us up on the web at burnsesstateplanning.com.
Thank you, Ernie, and thank you so much for joining us here at Your Money Matters.
So let's talk about someone who's not retiring for another 20 years. What are some other ways that they can save money, Ernie?
Great question. We have a lot of prospects, clients coming in and saying, listen, I make too much to contribute to my Roth or my IRA, and I've maxed out my 401k already. What else can I do? A lot of self-employed business owners, doctors, lawyers, they want to contribute more. And now, because the tax policy is now more than ever, Christian and I have seen. So one thing that's going to pop up on your screen here is we're going to use an example. If you put in $500 a month, up to $6,000 a year, and let's say you're going to have, if you're 50 years old, you do this for 15 years. So that's $6,000 a year, that's $90,000 you put in there. Now when you activate the income inside of this, it's $9,122 a year. Now the unique thing about this, you're not limited what you could put in. However, it's after-tax dollars that goes in, and you're not limited what you could contribute like an IRA or retirement account. And when you draw this money out, it's tax-free. This is a life insurance product. This is not something you get your regular life insurance agent down the road. This is very unique to financial advisors. But what happens is you have a death benefit, and the death benefit's lower than most. So you see that on the screen here. The goal here is for this income to grow tax-free and compound. So when you draw money out, however you draw it out, is always tax-free. Then we're going to show you the second one, and it's for life. I'll show you the second one. Let's say you're a high income earner, like I said earlier, you put in $100,000 a year. And let's say you do this for 10 years, so obviously that's $1 million. So for 50 to 60, Now you put in $1 million. When you activate the income, it's $89,000 a year for the rest of your life, tax-free. What does that equal to taxable? Probably about close to $110,000, depending on what tax bracket you're in, as a taxable level. You draw this money out. In both scenarios, by age 80, let's say your life expectancy is 85. In both scenarios, you've tripled your money.
That's great.
You've tripled your money. You draw that money out tax-free while you and your spouse are both here, and we don't know what future tax rates are going to be, so anything that's tax-free is a win-win. You're not limited with what you could put into the, contribute to the plan, and when you draw it out, it's compounded the whole time tax-free. And then, God forbid, when you pass on, now you have a death benefit that is tax-free to your heir. Now think about this. What if you use this to manipulate your retirement account, say your IRA or your SEP, your KEO? In other words, what if you reduce your IRA contributions and you put it into this type of an account that's growing tax-free? So if we removed it from the IRA, and yes, you would initially be taxed, but since we don't know what future tax rates are going to be a year from now, much less 10 years from now when you retire, 15 years from now, now your required minimum distribution is a whole lot less or has completely been eliminated. And when you draw money out of this account that's been growing compounding interest, it's all tax-free money.
Well, that's some great news.